I'm back by unpopular demand. I wasn't even demanded. Either way, I'm back and I'm here to annoy you all with more hardcore projects. Hi. Hey. Yeah, there's been a massive gap from last episode, which was with monasteries, uh, to now. Huge gap because I fucking broke my laptop like an idiot, didn't I? What a fool. What a fool. Now, within that time frame, there's been so much music released. Almost, I won't be able to mention it all, sadly. But I'm going to give a couple of mentions here to albums that have come out or are currently going to be released very, very shortly. But most recent ones that have come out, or certainly singles that I've been listening to quite recently. So we got the first album was Purgatory. They released Lawless to Grave. Boah, what a fucking slap! Wow, what a good time. Next on over back to the gang in the UK. We had Harriet. They're in the process of releasing more and more stuff, but they just released this new song called Dispirit. And honestly, if you want a bit of like a sonic assault on the senses, then they're the fucking people to listen to. Obviously, fucking the Tsunami and Gold split. I mean, fucking hell. Does exactly what it says in the tin. If you don't know either band, get to know. Lads over in Cannula, who are members of Gassed Up, who we had in previous episodes, they've formed a new band called Cannula Synths. They've just released, or they're in the process of releasing a new EP called Fragmentations of a Soothed Soul. I apologize if I butchered that. Get ready to check that out again. Fucking UK boys representing. Literally, if memory serves, as of today, I say memory serves like it was an hour ago. Gridiron and Despise came along together to fucking release a big fucking UK US release. Sick. And it's a bop too. You need to fucking get your ears around that. But the most honourable mention for me before we get into this episode is the band God's Hate, who released the album God's Hate. Who went on to even go with a song, God's Hate. So listen to God's Hate off the album God's Hate by the band God's Hate. How many times can you say God's Hate without it being weird? Probably that amount of time, to be honest. But yeah, most importantly though is my guest who I have on this episode, which is Jeremy from The Devil Wears Prada. I mean, I can't wait for you to hear what happens in the rest of this episode, but I am incredibly humbled and so thankful for Jeremy for joining me on the Hardcore project. I mean, it's in its infancy still, and I'm just incredibly thankful that he came on to talk to me about The Devil Wears and obviously all the previous shows and tours that they've done in the UK there. So enough of me chatting womble. Crack on with the rest of this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for your time. Right, welcome back to the Hardcore Project. We're on episode 9. There's been a huge break recently because I was an idiot and broke my laptop. It happens apparently. But first episode back, I'm joined by Jeremy from the mighty Devil Wears Prada. So thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming on.
The mighty, dude. I'm gonna change our Instagram bio to the mighty Devil Wears Prada.
Or we could go for the Boss Stones, the mighty Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah. I like that.
Fantastic stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast here. Obviously, just explaining there with the Hardcore Project, what we're going to be doing is big deep dive into the Devil Wears Prada and how they started, and all the previous tours and shows that you've done in the UK. Of course, we'll cover the world because you have covered the world.
True.
Focusing on the UK if you don't mind. So talk to me then about the Devil Wears Prada starting all the way back in 2005. You were how old were you when you first joined as guitarist?
I was 17, so I was a senior in high school. And then Mike and Chris, our other guitar player at the time, were both 16. So we were all in high school. Our bass player up until like 2 years ago went to my high school. We all kind of like grew up in suburbs of the same area. So we were kind of, I think most of us had played in other bands like in that scene around Dayton. It was kind of like I guess almost like a Sheffield-ish area would be a good comparison. A lot of working class, a lot of people worked in like auto plants and stuff like that. So, and there was really not much to do. So there was like a pretty huge music scene of like punk and hardcore and stuff like that. So, um, so our sorry, I just like broke my desk. Our so our bass player and I, like I said, went to high school together, and we were kind of just getting on MySpace when it was in its infancy, and we found this band, and I thought it was really sick. He was like a punk kid, and he was like, I don't really like that kind of music. I was like, all right, well, they need a guitar player and a bassist, so I'm gonna go try out. Do you want to try out on bass? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And so I actually took his bass amp to the first tryout, and some other kid tried out, and he was super nice, but he kind of sucked on bass. And so uh we ended up hitting it off. Like Chris and I especially just vibed really hard out the gate. And then uh I was like, went back to Andy, our old bass player. I was like, yo, you got to try out. These guys are sick. They're awesome. So he came and joined like a couple shows later, and then it was off to the races.
That was it. That was when everything started to gel together for the Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
And then it was around that time where obviously you started to come across, obviously you started writing Patterns of the Horizon, which led into Dear Love, a beautiful Discord. So 05, 06 into there.
Yeah, we had like we had two demos that we had online on like Pure Volume and stuff that we recorded ourselves, just like in Cubase or whatever. But then we played a show with this band called Coraline, and Joey Sturgis was the guitar player, and or maybe it was the drummer, and he was like, yo, you should let me record your band, you're pretty cool. And we were like, yeah, okay. And then like he gave us a demo. It sounded awesome. We're like, okay, it's gonna be like, I don't know how much it was, like $500 or something to do this demo with him, or we could just do it ourselves. We deliberated for a long time, and I always think like our lives would have been so different if we had not gone to him.
Exactly. And with Joe,
that was Patterns. That was Patterns of Horizon.
That was for
demo.
Patterns.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then obviously, little did you know during that time, obviously, when working with Joey, how much more he would do for you, sort of album-wise, as it goes on board.
Yeah, no way.
Moving on to the stuff like Plagues and With Roots Above and Branches Below. I'm sure he helped you out with them, didn't he, as well? Is that right?
Yeah, he did the Zombie EP too. So everything we did with him up through the Zombie EP.
That's right.
And he was very, very good at what he did. Still is, but I mean, especially in that time, like he was a small town kid like us, even smaller. Like I remember once we were at like a skate park in the town he lived in that we were doing the record in, and our old guitar player Chris was talking to this kid. He was like, who are you guys, or should I even know you? And he was like, well, we have a CD in Best Buy. Maybe this won't resonate over there as a reference, but Best Buy is kind of like, I don't know.
It's like our HMV, if you will.
Yeah. It was like saying, oh, we have a CD in HMV. He's like, what is that? I never even heard of that. And I was like, where are we? We're in the hillbilly. So it was a pretty podunk area. So like considering that, the sounds he was able to get were crazy. It was just crazy.
It was the era, obviously, when sort of like those first three albums in particular, this is where like I could probably go as far as to say, especially in America, like metalcore was at a pretty high peak of dominance, if you will.
Yeah, there was like Kill Switch and As Lay Dying and that kind of stuff before us, but that was much more. They were more metal bands that were doing actual metalcore, like combining hardcore and metal. And we kind of ushered in this weird generation that was like kind of combining like the Under Oath stuff with more metal riffs. Like Under Oath didn't have as many metal riffs. They were kind of more rock. So I think it was kind of by accident. We were kind of just trying to hodgepodge like what Under Oath was doing and what like Kill Switch and everybody was doing and try and fuse them. And then, I mean, we were 18, so it's not like we wrote down on a piece of paper how to write really great songs. We just tried the best, and people liked it. So
as you say, it was basically like just essentially just a bunch of pretty much just under being adults, just getting together in a room and just saying, that sounds cool. Let's put it out.
Exactly.
One thing I wanted to cover with you as well, just obviously like writing back in the early days of Devil Wears, what was it like sort of like touring through America? Sort of, so you just released something, Dear Love, going on to Plagues. So what was it like the reception wise? I know it's a long time ago, but
No, I remember it pretty well, certain parts of it. I mean, we were just kids. Like I said, we were from Dayton, so like most of us had never been west of like halfway through the country. Like I think I had been to Arizona before, like on a plane, but I don't think any of us in the band had ever been to California at that point. None of us had really just done much traveling at all. Definitely never left the country. Well, actually Mike grew up in Japan for a little bit, but for most of us we had never left the country. And so like we got this van, we saved up, we started driving around, and like at first we had a lot of hype on MySpace, but back then you would trade shows. I'm sure people still do that, but you would kind of trade shows with local people and stuff. And so we would show up like in Florida or California or something. Like sometimes it'd be like 20 people, sometimes it'd be like 50 or 100, just depending on what the local things were. But it started to really escalate from there because there was a huge like local music scene almost everywhere. So if you were even halfway good, you could really kind of ramp that up and like build it into a thing. I don't know if it would work the same way today. It's kind of harder to break in, I guess.
Yes, yeah, I get exactly what you mean there, because I think at the time, by the sounds of it, you had all of this like on your front doorstep, so you
Yeah,
were able
totally.
to just sort of go, oh, right, well, there's a show happening down there this weekend. Let's go and get it on.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and you had the opportunity there. And as you say, I mean, in terms of growth, I think Devil Wears Prada came in the perfect time, because I think everyone wanted a piece. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as I can see, which again, I wanted a bit of help with this, because I couldn't find tour posters, but I'm always on the lookout for them just to see who was like playing back in the day. And I
Oh
put it
yeah.
down that the first time that you guys came over to the UK. Now, if this was beforehand, then please correct me, but I put it down as roughly around 2008. Was that with like you played Download?
Yeah, we so actually that tour was with we were doing a tour. It was kind of cemented around Download. So it was us, Day to Remember, and Alisana, I think, was who was on that tour. Is that what you had?
I got a day to remember down. I didn't know it was Alisana that was part of that as
Yeah.
well.
So we all came over together and shared like a bus, and it ended at Download. So
Yeah.
I could tell you some wild stories from that weekend. That
Please,
was
by all means, let me know. Yeah, let's go. I love a wild story.
actually, what's funny is, okay, so right before that we had went to Australia. And so none of us were like 21 yet, so we couldn't drink
Couldn't
like
drink.
in the
No, of
States and
course.
everything. And so we went to Australia and played this like Australian tour, and it was just psycho. Like it was totally crazy, and they had all these after parties, so we're like going out to bars, and like it's our first time doing that, and like it's totally crazy. Like we're just having fun. And then we springboard from that into the UK, and we meet up with Day to Remember and Alisana. And like us and A Day to Remember were best buds back then. Not that we're
Yeah.
not now, but I mean, we would do every tour together kind of thing. And so we shared a bus with them, and it was just party town. I mean, people were giving us like crates of cider and like beers and stuff, and we're just like on top of the world.
I can well and truly imagine, especially with you saying but being 18 and over in Australia. Like, so imagine the
Yeah.
first time you've just gone abroad for the first time essentially, and you've just been given like all this stuff, and you got people
Yeah.
going, "G'day, mate, get that down your son," and
Well,
that's
and then we
it.
get to download, and they're like, hey, there's like, I don't know how many people was that download, like 50,000, something like
Well,
that.
roughly around that number. Usually is every year. Yeah, maybe even
Yeah.
growing since, obviously.
Oh man, it was psycho. And they same thing. We get there and they just dump like crates of beer outside the bus, and they're like, here, go to town. So I just remember walking around with like me, Neil from A Day to Remember, and a couple of my other guys, and just I think we had a couple bottles of stuff, and just like partying with everybody on the grounds, going through the tents and stuff. Like it was just such a cool way to get into those like European festivals and stuff, almost as a fan, kind of.
Yeah, and especially and you know, I think when you say stuff like that's really humbling, because you went and got involved and invested with the people, whereas I know it can happen sometimes where bands will come over and they won't really talk to people. So no, stuff like
Yeah.
that I really appreciate it.
we
And got
weren't we
involved.
weren't cool enough back then to do that, so
I would disagree, but I mean I'm very biased.
that's sick.
So it went on to obviously, so it was around 2009 when, well, it was 2009 when you brought out With Roots Above and Branches Below, and that's,
Uh-huh.
I think, you came back over to the UK again. I think this time it was with Enter Shikari. I think you,
Yeah. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, so that was a massive tour because like they were decently well known in the States, but we didn't realize they were kind of like an arena band over there. So we were just playing like massive shows with them. That was super sick.
They've always been a pretty big band for shows. It's not just music for them. They're putting on an overall good time. I've always found
it's like a rave kind of thing or something. It was like the biggest academies, I think, was that tour. That's what I remember. It's like our first time in all the academies and stuff, like the big rooms of those.
The big ones, yeah. And as you say, like I know as time went on, you know, you'd have obviously started playing a lot bigger venues, and I've seen you a couple of times in those academies actually. I think the first time I ever saw you guys was around 2012, I think it was, with it was Last Witness and Brotherhood of the Lake. I think it was your guys' first or second headline tour.
Oh yeah. And, yeah. I remember those. Yeah, that was awesome. We did another one too. Okay, I don't want to cut you off. I'll let you. You have your history of it. I was gonna say the one I remember the most. We've done a bunch of them. Like we did some stuff with Ghost Inside that was pretty awesome over there.
I got that down. Yeah, I saw that one. That was 2014 with I Killed the Prom Queen as well. They were on that.
What year was the Bring Me the Horizon tour? That was a crazy lineup.
2011. That was with Parkway Drive and Architects.
Yeah, so
2011 that one was.
That's probably one of the most psychotic lineups to ever exist at that level.
And still stands to this day. That's no word of a lie. If you ask anyone in the UK who appreciates sort of like this kind of music, anytime we talk about shows and stuff, people will say, "Do you remember that tour 10 years ago?" Parkway came over and they had Bring Me, they had Architects, they had the Devil Wears Prada, and you even had While She Sleeps on the
Oh yeah. Dude, that was crazy. I remember one show. There's one story that everyone tells about from that tour, and I remember it happening. I think it was in Bristol where the power went out in the venue, and so they evacuated the whole show. And so I don't know, it was like the Bristol Academy or one, I can't remember which show it was, but the whole crowd came out and was like in the road around this one pub. And I think Ollie and I think Jonah was in the band at the time. They got up on the roof of their bus and played like an acoustic set, and everyone just sang all the songs. But then because the power was out, me and Sam and a couple other people from Architects all got locked in our bus, and so we like couldn't get out. I have some video footage. I'll have to drum it up. It would be really funny.
We'll have to reminisce and definitely have a look into that. That's insane though. That's I didn't even know about that. And Bristol's like my hometown as well. That's where I'm originally from. So it's always good to hear about Bristol.
You know that pub that's across from the Academy right there? I can't remember. It's called the End of the World Pub or something like that. I don't know.
That name does ring a bell, but I can't, for the life of me, I've not been to for a long time, so I could just be chatting waffle there for all intents and purposes.
That's hilarious.
I wanted to question you on this as well. Like, I don't know if this was true or not. Was there a one-off London show back in 2010? I've got it that you didn't really come over back into the UK in 2010, but there was just one-off London show.
Was it the Underground, maybe?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we did that.
I couldn't find who supported or what the show was.
I think it was like a press thing. So we were kind of not the show necessarily, but we came to London for like 2 days to do a bunch of press. What year was that?
2010. So it would have been around the Dead Throne era, wouldn't it?
Okay. Death Throne and maybe Zombie too. Yeah, probably Death Throne. So we had just hired a new publicist over there, and she was like, "Oh, you guys should come over and you know, we'll do like Kerrang and Rock Sound and Metal Hammer and all that stuff, and then we can have a show like the next day." So I think we did that, and then we went to Germany and did some stuff. So, but that show was awesome. I love that place, the Underground. It's like in Camden, I think.
Yeah, if memory serves, that is correct. Yeah. Again, you know, funnily enough, you've actually been to London more times than I.
Yeah, that's true.
That says a lot about me as a person, really. I need to get out more, to be honest.
Got to get down there, bro. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's hilarious.
On the same 2012 era where you played with Last Witness and Brotherhood of the Lake, there was another one where you came over. It was August Burns Red who headlined. You supported along with Vale of Mayor. It was meant to be Whitechapel tour as well, but Vale took over because I think Whitechapel had to pull out. I couldn't tell you the reason why. And that I remember when that came over, that was at HMV Ritz, or that was the one I went to in Manchester.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
And that blew me away because you were on the precipice of sort of releasing like 818 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you played like one or two tracks off it. I think Gloom was one of them. I think
Oh yeah, Gloom. Yeah.
that got a lot of press before it, but obviously the album got put out. But yeah, I remember that one very, very well. And then the next time you came over was around roughly 2013, and there was a really big tour with Dead Hearts and Napoleon, if you remember.
Yes, yeah. That tour was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Again, I think I definitely went to that one because Dead Hearts at the time, sadly they've disbanded now, but they were one of my favorite bands at the time. So seeing,
oh yeah, these guys are awesome.
bunch of nutters. Honestly, but again, mentioning Sheffield, if Sheffield was their hometown, so they were just born and bred nutters, but they were absolutely fantastic.
Dude, no one can understand the Sheffield people in the States. I remember like the first time that Bring Me came over, we were all on the Warped Tour. And I like those guys because I had heard their like first few albums and then like Suicide Seasons and stuff. And I was like a huge fan. And we were the kind of the same age, and the Warped Tour would have these big barbecues and parties, all the bands could come over and stuff. And I think
cool.
me and a couple of our dudes, and then like their bass player and Lee and somebody else, we just like split a bottle of Sailor Jerry's and just like I could not understand one thing they said. Since become friends with them, they're great, awesome guys. But there's just like, oh my soul, and I was like, I know it's your language, but what, bro? What are you
You're
saying?
not the only one who struggles with it as well. Like, anyone outside of Sheffield sort of has to go, you say it again, mate. Yeah, you wanted a pint of what? No.
Yeah.
I
love it, man. It's kind of charming, actually. I back it. Wish I had a cool one like that.
You do have a cool accent. It's appreciated, and you understand everything that you're saying. So it's always
Hey,
nice.
there you go.
During that time, the Dead Hearts and Napoleon era, you played Ghost Fest, I think, just before this. This was 2013.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
You headlined out the Sunday show, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Chelsea Grin were on just before, and then yourselves there. Yeah, it was Your Demise, Chelsea Grin, and then yourselves.
Oh yeah, Your Demise. Yeah, I remember the Your Demise show was psychotic there.
Absolutely mental. They went on to play that, I think, again the next year, but then they got kicked off the festival for some reason, unbeknown.
Probably fighting somebody or something. They're crazy.
They was always out to have a good time, weren't they?
Yeah.
They ended up playing like some random sort of like warehouse show, just completely out of the blue. They just sort of said, "Well, if you're not going to go, once that show finishes, just come to this warehouse and we're going to do a show for you all." And we were all like, "Nah, that's not going to happen." But it did.
My!
Whatever you thought,
I bet it went off.
The year before, went off is the perfect terminology.
We actually became friends with them, and then we took them out over here. We did a tour. It was called the Back to the Roots tour. Oh, actually, yeah, I have a poster of it. Right,
just in the background, I can see.
Yeah, it's, I don't think you can focus on it, but it says Your Demise underneath the Miss May I. It was like a underplay tour, so we would do like 3 or 4 shows in like smaller rooms in every single market, and they just crushed. I remember people like had never seen that sort of like crazy, like they were kind of like ahead of the wave of like the hardcore movement that would happen over there.
Really, like it was like a new school hardcore sort of brought over, and it was obviously like the UK style, if you will, of it. And
Totally.
quite right, they were like kind of ahead of their time. I think that was around the time, I want to say it was the golden age when they brought that album out.
Yeah.
Memory serves, it was somewhere around there. But so I knew that they went over to America, but I actually had no idea it was you guys who took them out there. So there you go.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, the first show, their van like broke or something somehow.
That sounds about right.
My ex father-in-law, so I was married at the time, he was my father-in-law, he was at the show and he gave him this like wrench for a certain way to fix their van, and then they just kept that wrench and they had to fix the van by hitting it with a wrench underneath it every single night. Those guys are nuts.
I bet they've still got that wrench somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah.
One day I'll ask the question and find out, because that's stored in here now.
Yeah.
I'd love to find out about it. You were quite right as well in regards to 2014. Moving on was the Ghost Inside. I think this was I want to say it was like the Progression tour.
And I think it ended at Slam Dunk, right? Was the big
right.
Yeah.
They were the final 3 there of so it was always Leeds, Hatfield, and then was it London?
Yeah, I think so. I have a funny story about that too. We were
Please.
sharing a bus with those guys and prom queen. We were like all on the same bus, and it would anytime that happens, it's really fun and funny, right? And so on the way from it was either to the first slam dunk show or the second one, our bus broke down and we all woke up in the morning. We were like stranded on the side of the road and we were like trying to get to slam dunk. And I remember like one of them had a friend that was like staying on the bus and they came down and we for some reason were singing like the American national anthem at the top of our lungs and waving these flags that we had. This person was like, where am I? But I don't know, it's like a weird, so we had to rent another bus that had like seats on it, like an actual coach. We had to rent a coach and put all the gear on it, and the guy was yelling at us and wouldn't let us put any gear either in the bay or on the seats, so we had to like physically carry our guitars
Oh no.
on our laps and stuff. It was pretty funny.
That
Glamorous.
it's sadly it's some of the prices that you pay as a musician, isn't it?
That's true, yeah.
I imagine you've got plenty of
Oh my god,
plenty
yeah.
of occurrences where stuff like that's happened. Nothing ever runs smoothly anymore, does it?
When
So,
did it, honestly?
yeah, to be fair, yeah, who's had smooth run-ins. But yeah, I actually had that down there with so you went on to finish on the slam dunk there. I was I went to the Preston show for that one. I know a few friends of mine who still actually talk about that show because again, absolutely fantastic. That was actually one of the first times, if memory serves, that I met yourself, Mike, and Chris. And I want to say Mike at the time had or was in the process of writing Home for Grave.
Okay, yeah, I think he wrote it on that tour.
Did he? Is that when that was?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I since then bought it, and just a nice little, as it quite rightfully says on the title, a somewhat never-ending short story.
Yeah.
But absolutely perfect. Now, you had a gap in 2015 here, so I imagine that you released Space during this time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You were just on the obviously coming off the end of 818.
That was when we started our shift of member changes. Was right around there. Yeah. Our keyboard player left after one of our UK tours, but that was way back. I think that was a long time ago, and we didn't really have any changes until about the Space era. That's when it really started.
Well, you had Jonathan Tekken for you at the time anyway, didn't you? So he kind of just came along and just said, well.
Yeah, and he also did. We had like an Australian tour he came and did, and he did like the second half of one of our Dead Throne tours. So it just kind of worked out. And we were like, this is a little bit better of a fit, and that was the end of that story. But you know, no harm, no foul. But that dude kills it. He's so insane. John is a maniac.
He really is. I've seen some of the documentaries that you guys have put up on online and stuff, and yeah, he breaks down and the analysis of things really well and helps you understand things, because obviously there's a lot of stuff that obviously goes into the music that you guys write, and the way he describes it is well, it gets you motivated and wants you to listen to it more. You think, the amount of effort that he's going in with it, it's brilliant. So yeah, as I say, 2015 was sort of like your time away. We're restructuring. And we went on to then go to Transit Blues, which you did a huge tour across. I think this was just pretty much predominantly the planet, and it was Silverstein. I want to say Memphis, Mayfire.
Yeah,
like Monster Flames had a few shows within there. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. I remember. I think it was called the Rise Up tour because we were all on Rise Records at that time.
Oh, makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you were with Silverstein. Was it all the way through? It was pretty much all the way through from like North America all the way through the UK and everywhere else, wasn't it? With them.
Yep. Yeah. I remember we parked at the O2 Arena in London when Bieber was playing there. So they parked us like we couldn't even park by the arena. We were like out in the boonies, kind of.
That's mad, is it? Why is Bieber taking over, man? What's he doing?
Straight up.
Always the case, isn't it? You went on to then do it was another Download festival on top of obviously plenty more during 2017, but Download again. And I want to say it was, if memory serves, was that the Saturday that you opened up in the morning?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were maybe at like noon or something like that too. It was chaos. I remember it was awesome. It was inside the blue tent, if I recall, for that one.
Oh, blimey, right? Okay, so that's still as big of a stage as it is. It's still quite intimate, which is
Yeah.
perfect for a Devil Wears Prada show, of course, because got the nice little sing-alongs, but then you've got the crushing riffs where you just want to throw
Yeah,
yourself around
gotta
like a
get
madman.
the pit going.
Exactly, and well, plenty of times I've seen it happen live. So every time it works, every time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then there was literally like 2018. There was another few slam dunks that you played there. Again, I think that was the only time you came over to the UK. But again, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we did. I think we were in a bus with Every Time I Die during that time period. Were they also on those same slam dunks? I think we were sharing a bus together.
I think they were just in the process of releasing that. I think that was their last album they released. Was it Low Teens, I want to say?
Yes.
Or it might
Yeah,
be
yeah,
I think it was around that era at least anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to say so. If I'm wrong, someone will tell me and point it out. And then it was around this time where obviously the act was sort of coming into play. I think you'd released one or two songs off of it, and then 2019 is when it all came about. Dropped the act, and then came along with Straight from the Path, Gideon, really good friends of ours in the UK, Loathe.
Oh yeah, I love those guys so much. I love them.
Absolutely phenomenal band. They're literally only down the road from where I live currently.
Oh really? Oh.
Yeah, and I knew them when they were. So they had a band before that. Can't remember for the life of me what it was called now, but I remember them from when they were like that young, and they're still young now. Like don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
watching the growth of a band like that in such a small time is very humbling. But yeah, you guys came along, and as I say, I'd say from like the era of the inception of Devil Wears Prada, if you will, up until like 2010, you guys, I'd say, were like predominantly like one of the biggest names in metalcore, if you want to put a label on it. And then it was around Dead Throne. I think this is where you guys just you sat down and you really took on like a heavier, darker element as a band. I think.
yeah.
Thematically, you guys just you stepped it up, which was a huge change compared to hearing obviously.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of questions about playing previous stuff? I imagine you get absolutely slaughtered with questions like, "Can you play this album in full again?"
Yeah. I think that's been kind of a journey getting there. I think that around the 818 and Transit Blues and Space EP era, we were still kind of trying to like rectify or rationalize our like purpose musically, I guess, because we had made obviously Dear Love and Plagues is a certain style of music, and then With Roots Above I still think was probably just that was sort of our make or break. It was either going to be we would go down the path of Names You Forgot, or we could actually learn how to write some songs, and we chose the latter. And then that and Dead Throne and Zombie were just such a cool like peak at the time. And so I think like we were kind of just trying to find our footing for a while after that and say like, where do we want to go? Do we want to go down here? Do we want to go down there? Do we want to be taken seriously? Do we want to have fun? And I don't think it was really until the act that we finally just put our finger on like, what is it that we want to do? And Zombie is the result of that, of just saying like, if we want it to be heavy, let's go as heavy as humanly possible. If we want it to like be emotionally evocative, well, let's do something like Chemical or Lines of Your Hands. But just like picking these different sounds. And I think like the heavy stuff is really fun. I think that we're just going to keep leaning into that more and more and more. And it just works so well live. And like, I don't know. So we'll see how it goes
over the years, it's something that you've genuinely mastered now. And it's not often you can say that. Like, because obviously music's always changing, and everything is down to perception of what you like as a human.
Totally.
Heavy in terms of if you mention the Devil Wears Prada, guaranteed one word that always comes out of it is heavy, because you guys always do and have done, always written heavy riffs, and there's no denying it. But I know exactly what you mean with terms like songs like Chemical and Lines of Your Hands. Like everything changes, but it's still the Devil Wears Prada, which it's got that stamp approved on it, if that makes sense. Like, you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, I think there's only like two rules. It's that Mike and I have to sing it, and that we have to really believe in it at the moment. And so like as long as we follow those two rules, I think you're right. It still can be the Devil Wears Prada, but like I, I don't think I really even fully grasped that until taking a year off, like with the pandemic and everything, and saying like, what has this meant for the last 15 years? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a bunch of stuff on my wall, but like, what does that mean? And I think we almost kind of took it internally as, I don't want it to have been 15 years. I want to do another 15 years. I want to like keep going and just see what we can do. So
like it's not just a passing phase for you, and it's obviously you can see that throughout the history of Devil Wears, and obviously everything that you've done with them. If it's any consolation, I know people who would legitimately, especially back in the day, actually traveled to America to see you guys. They flew over and they went. I think it was to see Warped Tour, but the one standout thing that they always mentioned was that they'd seen the Devil Wears Prada obviously in their home country.
Those shows were so crazy at those Warped Tours as well. That was just like the right culmination of moment where, like, I think that was part of it. Was we were like a year older than all of our fans. So if we were 19, our fans were 18. If we were 25, our fans were 24. So whereas I think for us, like our favorite bands growing up were like Under Oath and this and that, and they were like 5 or 6 years older than us. I think we were so close in age to all the people that were coming to our shows. It really felt the same thing with Your Demise, I think, and the same thing with The Day to Remember and The Ghost Inside. Like when you are the same age as everybody that's in the room, it almost feels like it's our club, kind of like there's no separation between the stage and the fan kind of thing. We're the same thing.
It's a shared experience for everyone. There's no above or below sort of thing. Everyone is on the same platform.
I mean, I love this band, but it's not like System of a Down or something. You know what I mean? Like there's no comparison between us in the crowd and them. It's like, whoa. Whereas for us, it was like, dude, maybe next year you could be up here, bro. So
well, in saying that though, you have shared the stage with the likes of Slipknot and stuff like that. Is that right? So so credit where credit's due.
Thank you. Yeah, like, you can't flinch in front of that crowd. Let me tell you, whenever somebody like only wants to see Slayer, they will try and berate you, and you got to just hold your own. So I think we learned a lot of lessons on those shows.
I'm well and truly imagine some people just sticking in their ways, but as you say, literally just Slayer fans from day dot and just being like, I don't like anything else but.
But I mean, I get it. That's what they like, so you just don't back down, and usually by the end about half of them are into it, so who cares?
Exactly, as long as you had like a head bop or someone who just sort of went, I really appreciate that.
If they uncross the arms,
that's it. If you've seen that, I've won them over. I don't need them to tell me that I've won them over. I know I've done it.
Yep.
I bet that's happened a couple of times as well, especially when you're playing stuff like with Slipknot as well. How long ago was that?
The Mayhem Festival, I think. Let me look. I'm curious when that Mayhem Fest with.
If I was to hazard a guess, I want to say around 2017, 2018, but again, that's hazarding a guess. That.
Oh, dude, you would be way off. That was in 2012.
Oh, right. There you go.
Can you even believe that? That was 9 years ago.
Another topic of conversation, and this is actually going to bring us around to the EP that's going to be released tomorrow, the Zombie 2, which, by the way, if you haven't listened to it yet, anyone, do yourself a bloody favor and do it.
It's evil.
Evil to say the least. Especially because I know if people talk about the Devil Wears Prada, Zombie is one EP or certainly one piece of music that everyone mentions because it was like Devil Wears Prada times 10. It just went so hard. It was perfect. It's again that is still listened to on I'd say a good monthly basis. Like no shame whatsoever. Fully appreciate it. Now, was Zombie Part 2 always on the table for yourselves as a band, or was it sort of like this sit down over the last year where you sort of went, should we carry that on?
I mean, actually, so Kyle and John had started demoing some stuff out before we did the act for a new Zombie EP. And actually a lot of the people on our team were like, hey, you should probably think about doing a Zombie EP. We know you've talked about in the past, that would be sick. And so they started demoing these things, and they weren't there yet. It was kind of still on the heels of like Transit Blues and just the songwriting and everything, it just wasn't there. So we scrapped it and we wrote probably some super weird stuff, like way out of left field. And then that kind of started the path for the act, and us just kind of going like, who cares? Let's just do whatever we want and see if people want to follow it. And they did, which was awesome. But then they had a couple of things here and there, and then we were going to do it. And then with the pandemic, that kind of just made it like, oh, let's just do it right now. And then it turned out really awesome and was kind of easy to find the time to do it. So,
Well, granted, yeah, of course. Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You're over in it's Ohio, isn't it? Where you guys hail from? Is that right?
where?
Ohio, is that where you guys are?
Oh, yeah. So we started there. We all grew up there, but none of us live there now. So most of the guys are kind of based around like the Kansas area. And then Mike lives in Wisconsin, like just north of Chicago. And then I live in North Carolina, like in the South. So but we all convened on Kansas to make the record. And then that's where we also filmed all the live streams. We broadcast those from Kansas as well.
Ah, right, okay. And you did.
There's like a studio that we worked out of there in Kansas City. That was super cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen all the videos. There was a with Roots Above and Branches Below 10-year release, which that was phenomenal.
Thank you.
I think seeing songs like Ben Has a Kid. Natural Danger Wild Man, of course, that comes with that just goes without saying. Just seeing that whole album in general, but Ben Has a Kid is one of my favorites in terms of like just out of nowhere where the breakdown comes from.
Yeah.
I was actually listening to that today on the way to work, to be honest.
Oh, sick.
But yeah, that came on. I was like, do you know what? I need to speak to Jeremy about that. I feel like
those things were awesome, though. It's kind of like I know early on, Under Oath had done one, and everyone was kind of like, should we even do these? Are we going to be back in the fall? Like, what's going to happen? And what we did was we all kind of just like, Giuseppe recorded his drums and sent them over to us, and we kind of jammed over them, and we were like, does it sound good? And it sounded awesome. So we're like, okay, we blocked out the time, came out there, broadcast it, had a huge response to the first ones, but the zombie one was crazy. It was just like out of control. It was probably triple the amount.
Was that the zombie
this most recent one. Yeah, the undead stream was psychotic, the amount of people that came to that.
You are not wrong. Hearing those 5 songs, I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow when you can obviously hear like the actual versions of them. But I've played that a good 3 or 4 times now, just because again, it's Devil Wears Prada just doing zombie, but even heavier, because this new EP that dropped, like you guys stepped it up like ridiculously. I say.
Mike sounds psychotic on it too, which is great.
Exactly, he really did go. He really went all in for that. You can tell. But yeah, I'm so glad that there's a second part to Zombie. Would you ever consider doing a second part to Space, or is that's
sure, why not?
Different discussion for a different day with the band?
No, not even. I think it's very likely, like the EP format is just so awesome for just doing like balls to the wall, crazy heavy stuff. I think like if we did 15 tracks like that, I think people would get bored. Everyone would say they would want it, but it just like wouldn't make sense. So we're working on a bunch of stuff still right now, because again, we finished the album last year, like late last year. So we've had like half a year to kind of start brewing some new stuff. So we'll see like what kind of timeline that has. But I would say probably very likely we'll do another Space EP. It just seems like I'd like to make it even more aggressive than the first one. Like Alien was pretty aggressive, but I'd like to just, go crazy with it.
I think my favorite song on that EP is An Asteroid Towards Earth, only because
that's a great song.
Those final couple of minutes, you get transported in a way, think of Best Friends, think of Strangers, you get really invested and you can imagine like, what happens if, like, this could be serious.
Totally.
And those words that Mike obviously is producer that have actually stuck in my head. Things like that, it's incredible.
Totally.
There was one thing I wanted to mention. It's only a brief thing that probably people from the UK will only appreciate. So I apologize.
It's fine.
There was on that Stray from the Path, Gideon and Loathe tour, it was when the Bristol show came together. There was another tour that was happening in the UK at the time. It was Malevolence,
Knocked
Knocked
Loose.
Loose. Yeah, and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
came together for that Bristol show.
yeah.
How was that? Because sadly I didn't get to go. But how did you?
Oh my God, you missed out. So that was my
No.
first time seeing Loathe. I had never seen them before, and they were on I think they were only on the European dates of the Straight from the Path tour. I don't think they were on the rest of the UK dates.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first time seeing them and freaked out. Oh, maybe they were on the UK. I can't remember.
No, I
Yeah,
can't.
actually they were. Yeah. But Knock Loose is so sick. I love that band. It reminds me of when we kind of first came out and just like playing the most punishingly. I mean, they're way heavier than we were, but like we would come out with like Silverstein and all these kind of guys who were a lot poppier than we are, insanely awesome bands, but we would just play this stuff that people's jaw would just drop compared to what they were
you
doing.
would be the standout heavy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So I guess I know what you're coming from there. So you as you are now, just looking at Not Loose and thinking, do you know that essentially it comparatively was us back in the day.
Yeah. And they're so cool. They're such nice guys. They're super awesome. They're very down to earth. Yeah. Brian is such a talented vocalist. Like they're just such a sick band. So I'd love to do some stuff with them in the future as well. Like it's just cool to see a younger generation like really pushing things up, because that's what you want to see, right? Like it's not going to be Iron Maiden and everybody forever. There has to be a new grip of people that move in, and so you hope that it's good and you hope it has impact in like what they're doing. Did you watch their live stream as well?
So I saw their live stream, and I've had the pleasure of seeing them a good couple of times live as well. They've never
I thought the stream was awesome. I thought it was so sick with the screen and everything. Like, dude, it's crazy.
Almost, if I were to compare it, if I dare, would Code Orange-esque with the screen
very
sort of
very
thing. Again, another band who have out of not nowhere's a wrong way to describe it, but sort of they've risen up and again taken over. So it's like we're now in the era of sort of like Code Orange and Not Loose, who are now, like,
massive.
These are the guys who are not only carrying the flame, but they're burning stuff with it. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. I love that too, because so many people try and force like, oh, we have these guys, they'll be perfect for the radio, let's just pump them up. Oh, these guys, everybody loves them, and pump them up. And so I love when the punk kids come in and just shake it up and like make things crazy. It's awesome.
They just cause anarchy and they love it.
Yep.
So overall, I mean, countless times you guys have actually now toured the world. I imagine you're in the process of maybe sorting stuff out now that things are starting to pick up a little bit more.
Yeah, we kind of have like a permanent plan for the UK and Europe. As soon as it opens, we'll come over pretty much. So we've blocked that off on our schedule. So I think like they're not letting international stuff in, and they're not doing international tours right now, but as soon as they do, we're gonna come. It basically is our plan.
I'm hoping it'll be around 2022 then. So
that would be sick. That would be great.
Sooner rather than later would be.
As soon as the gates open, we're in there.
You guys are just gonna fly right on in. No, and I can't wait for that. To be honest, I physically can't. So we've got essentially Devil Wears Prada coming over to the UK as soon as physically possible. New material is literally is on the table right now.
We'll probably play the whole EP. It's so heavy, it would be kind of stupid not to. So I would guess that we'll just blast through the whole thing and then do a bunch of other songs. Like, why not?
Why not? Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? That would probably be the perfect time, not to be that guy, but to probably sit down and just pick the heaviest songs from each album on top of doing the Zombie EP part 2 in the end. That would be
just non-stop pit action.
But just one tour of it, just to appease the people who sort of sit there and go, no, they were never heavy. Like, no, did you see that tour?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll give you 1% of the tour just for coming up with that.
Thank you very much. Perfect. I'm honored. A couple of funny things I wanted to mention as well. I don't know if this was the Devil Wears Prada or if this was previous to. I've always wanted to actually ask you this question, was to do with SpongeBob Grind Pants. Who actually was that?
I was the vocalist for it. Yeah.
I was showing my friend the other day.
I forgot about that. We had another, I think I was the vocalist for that. Well, we had another grindcore band that was called Octo Squash or something like that. That was kind of a joke. I'll have to find that one somewhere. That was
You'll have to.
crazy, but
There must be demos somewhere that you've still
yeah.
got, or something
The
hidden.
SpongeBob grind pit. Maybe it was Chris that did it. I can't remember. I have no idea. That's so funny. That's what I mean, though. I think I'm not gonna say we don't take ourselves seriously, but I'm trying to get back to more of that energy of just having fun. You know what I mean? Like not take it so seriously all the time.
Just enjoying yourself. I mean, that's all you want to do at the end of the day. You know,
Yeah.
it's. I think if you start focusing so much on trying to please everyone, and you're jumping through so many hoops that by the end of it, you're not happy. Everyone else is, but not you. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to be selfish in a way and do look after yourself and make sure that you are happy. You know,
Totally.
You're not here to create the content for everyone else to enjoy it. It's because you wanted to do it too. So
yeah, you gotta put your mask on first. Isn't that what they tell you on the plane? You put your O2 mask on first.
You save yourself before for anyone else. That's exactly what they say.
So...
And in this situation, comparatively, it is because the music industry, it can be quite tough.
Oh yeah, it's dog eat dog. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the only thing you have control over is if you like it. And then what I found is if you really like it, you'll go out and evangelize it and convince other people that because you like it, it's good. And that's definitely like the case here, is that the CP is just sick. So it's like got to get out and tell people about it. And I think if you'll hear it, you'll like it, sort of thing. So
very much so. Like I say, I will post it and press it onto everyone who appreciates or has listened to the Devil Wears Prada.
Thank you.
It's ridiculously heavy. So anything that you've heard previously from the Devil Wears Prada that you thought, man, that ripped, this will rip it even further.
Yeah,
easily.
The bar is high now. Whoops.
Now that you've said it, people, all the people who do appreciate the heavy will sit there and be like, so say for example, you do release another album and you have one song on it that's just you singing most of the way through it, they'll be like, no, not allowed.
Yeah, no, we ain't having that. You know we're gonna have to though, so oh well, it's fine. We'll just make people mad.
That's fine, as long as they're mad and it's not you. That is the main thing.
True that.
But on the flip side of that, though, I mean, I certainly had a look at sort of like charts for stuff like did Sour Breath get released in the charts at all? Or did you just do the cover and leave it as it is?
I think we just put it out. I don't know if it came out in the charts. It's really popular though. It ends up streaming like really high. That and Chemical are some of our highest stream songs. Like the Zombie EP does good, but Chemical's probably our most, until the new Zombie stuff came out. Chemical was like our highest stream stuff right now. Yeah. Which is funny because it's the softest, but it's a great song. So
but it got posted absolutely everywhere across the US, didn't it? I mean, I'm sure that got Billboard charted at some point.
Yeah, and it was like, I think it just had a pretty successful radio run, which was crazy. We've never really had, and obviously we have a lot of screaming, so nothing has really gone to the radio, but that song did really good at radio. So that was kind of fun, like being able to be like, over here we got the Zombie, over here we got the Chemical, and that sort of bring them together. So
in between, it's perfect. I think like the softest or the softer song previous to that, I think, was off with Roots with
Louder Than Thunder. Yeah.
But again, back in that time, around 2009, 2010, I think if you would have posted that over through to maybe a radio station, I think they would have sort of like double looked at you to say, play this live.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, as time's progressed, you're in a place now where, as you quite rightly say, you release Chemical and it is massively appreciated.
Yeah, totally.
And so very well received. But on the contrast of that, you got The Thread on the same album. So again, it's one of those where you go far left for the feelings and then far right for heaviness. So absolutely beautiful contrast.
Thank you.
Is probably one of my favorite albums that you guys have done to date.
Thank you.
But I will happily say that Plagues will forever be my favorite, just due to, I think that was Devil Wears Prada when they put boxing gloves on and just wanted to hurt people. if you were to
Yeah.
describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we like wrote it in my mom's basement, right? So that's kind of
Nobody
how
would
I
have
think
known.
about it. Yeah, they never knew, but just like I like a lot of those songs still. Like Reptar, I think I'd like to bring Reptar back, and like Dogs, why not? We'll have fun playing Dogs, so
Dogs is
that'd
always
be
a good
cool.
time.
Yeah.
I know one song I'd love to see you guys bring back just once from Plagues would be the Scorpion Deathlock.
Oh yeah, I think we've only played it like one time, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, like one tour's worth or something, maybe. Maybe we did. I think we did a breakdown from it on Warp Tour as like an intro or something. I don't know. I'll go listen to it after this.
You'll have to let me know, because honestly, that again, perfect. Like that was a
Yeah.
ridiculously good song. Just a ridiculously good album if we're blowing smoke. But yeah,
Thank you.
I know you did recently as well. Obviously, over the past year, you released on all over platforms. Really, like the Prada Pod, which
Oh yeah.
probably gone far more and covered furthermore in depth than I ever will during this episode. But I checked out quite a few episodes on that, and it's interesting to see the growth of you guys as a band, you know, comparatively to from where you were and to where you are at now.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was actually
is
really fun. We're kind of trying to take that same momentum and so we just started a Twitch account. We've only been on there one time, but I think we're going to try and do like 2 shows a week and really just because I think the biggest thing we've always done is in the past we let people in and then we kind of locked them out for a while. And so we're kind of trying to let people in and not make it a big like veil of like this is what we've been doing for a year, more just like, you know, hey, check it out, man, this is kind of where our heads are at the moment.
See the creative process. I can appreciate
Yeah.
that, and we're in the era now where certainly everything's predominantly online. So with the examples of Twitch and stuff, so it's so easy to keep on track of that.
And I like talking directly to people. I like to have somebody like in the comment and I'm like, I didn't like X song. And they're like, I actually really like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I never considered that. I just like to be able to talk direct because I'm on Twitter and stuff all the time, just talking mad crap to people, having fun. So like, if I love to just elicit a response from people, and if you can do that in real time, it's kind of fun.
Well, yeah, it makes it just that little bit better. And as you say, it's essentially you're just literally having a conversation. You're not waiting for someone to like email back to you about something. So it's
yeah,
immediate.
Exactly.
Yeah, so well, there you go. You got Zombie 2 coming out literally tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I've seen now is every variant of vinyl sold out.
Yeah, everything is sold out. They're working on trying to get some new stuff, but like all the plants are so backed up that we barely got those out. So we were just going to do the first press and we did that. And then we did a second press and that sold out. And then we did the third press and that sold out. And then we did one for the stream, like a special stream variant, and that sold out too. So everything's gone, which is awesome. I mean, it sucks for people that want it. We want to do a UK and a Euro press also, but they're working on that same thing. Like the plants and stuff are backed up. So as soon as we can humanly possible do it, people are like blowing me up, yelling at me for not doing a Euro press yet. So we'll do that.
But as you say, though, at the moment, I think people got to take into consideration it is completely out of your hands. It's not like you're they're going like, oh, "Fuck you guys, you're not having this." It's like,
no, it's like it's a once in a lifetime situation that prevents it. So
yeah, out of everything that could have happened, honestly, it's absolutely mad. Just in terms of like previous like tour stories, is there anything that you can think of that happened on like the most recent like UK tours that was just like quite mad? Anything crazy that you saw, or just any craziness that you can remember just happening in previous tours?
I mean, every day is crazy for us. We're a bunch of wild animals. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. We used to drink a lot more than we do now.
As time goes on, the hangovers just aren't worth it.
Oh yeah, I'm like mid-30s now. I can't be doing that, but we did. I mean, it was just it was never really like debauchery to that much of a degree, but there was definitely some insane wild partying and stuff that was happening. So I'm trying to think. I like when Ollie and I used to run together back in the day on some of those things. That was chaos, as you can imagine. He's a wild guy. He's got his own reputation.
You're not wrong there. No, he's always.
But he's the
having a good
biggest
time,
sweetheart. He legitimately is one of the nicest people, and he cares so much about the things that he does. That's why I have an immense amount of respect for him. He's so passionate about what he does.
It's not just it's not just like a passing time or passing phase for him. You can tell it's legitimately what he wants to be doing with himself.
Oh yeah, he's got that gift where he just, I don't know, something is different in his head. Like the way he thinks of things and sees them to fruition is totally different. Actually, Jeremy from A Day to Remember, it's the same way. It didn't matter if they did music, whatever those guys did was just going to be massively successful. So they just have that gene.
Would go as far as to say they're visionaries. They get something in their head and they will just run with it. It doesn't matter what obstacle gets in the way, they will just seem to somehow get it done.
Yeah, and they've both always like dreamed bigger than what was possible. Like for me, where if somebody comes in, they're like, "Oh, we can't do that. That costs too much money. Like that doesn't make sense." They were like, "Who cares? Spend it, buy it, build it, do whatever you want," and then made it way crazier. So,
well, it's the age-old expression, isn't it? If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So plenty of times we've seen that happen there. Well, I mean that. As it pretty much covers me. I know we covered the UK pretty quickly there, just due to previous tours and all the albums that the Devil Wears Prada have released so far. I'm just going to push it one last time. Anyone and everyone who is listening to this right now needs to stream the Zombie Part 2.
Please, and I promise we will come over. We'll play the whole EP front to back as soon as we can humanly possible do it.
You've heard it here. Well, that Jeremy pretty much covers me from the hardcore projects in the UK. Is there any special shout outs or anyone you want to give a nice little mention to?
No, just thank you to everybody who's checking it out. Thank you to our whole team over there. I don't know, we're just ready. We're ready to roll, man. We're ready to get back to business. So
ready to get back to business indeed. Well, I can safely say now, everyone or most Devil Wears Prada fans in the UK are solemnly sat on their hands waiting for the time for you to come here. And as soon as that happens, well, you'll see a lot of us there. Absolutely
Let's go. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much once again for coming on to the Hardcore Project. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, Jeremy, and I hope you take it easy.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much for your time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes episode 9 of the Hardcore Project. What a bloody good talk that was. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for coming on to the Hardcore Project. I humbled, to say the least. Actually cannot thank you enough in any way, shape or form. Seriously, really appreciated every all the conversation there. It was so much fun, and I hope one day I will get to do that again. Just wanted to actually point out, it's a bit of sad news, really, to be honest. I was saddened to actually hear during that talk we spoke briefly about Dead Hearts, the band. I learned recently that the drummer Anthony Allen has since sadly passed. So my sincere condolences to his family and friends through these times, because it's not something we ever want to fucking go through. So honestly, I was really saddened to hear about that. So rest in peace, Anthony Allen. It was a pleasure during the time that I did get to meet you at least once, and I hope the boys in Dead Hearts are doing well as well. But yeah, I know it's a bit of a sadder note to end on, but it deserves a mention nonetheless, because he was a part of this. He really was. So thank you very much for watching the episode. If you really enjoyed exactly what you heard, if you're appreciating what you're hearing and stuff, please get it liked, shared, enjoyed, whatever, do what you want with it. But yeah, thank you so much once again for your time, and I'll be back again soon with more hardcore project and annoyances. Thanks for your time.